got 3-1-8.
I woke up the day after prep finished, and I woke up an hour earlier than Sanaya. And I literally was like, I'm going to start my training. I'm going to start my off-season early. No gyms were open. I was annoyed. I was like, if a gym was open, I would have just walked to the gym.
Maybe that's more. I think you have that boost in. It's not like a boost, but it's like, like something new. It's not pushing for that show anymore.
No, that's a different sort of goal.
It's like, I want to go and train. And also, you've usually gone out for food, so you feel fuller. You've got energy. Like, you want to go and burn it all off doing cardio now in the morning at Holywell. Should have gone to Holywell. At least Holywell was open.
It's funny, I listened to a podcast and it was talking about post-show.
You do any work? How many podcasts do you listen to?
Not many, but I've driven a lot, haven't I? I drove back from Somerset. I drove to Somerset. I've got most of it done. So now I drove. So we just put a podcast on for a bit, and we had a 5-hour drive. So we listened to it.
We had one faster.
We had a fight. And again, on the podcast, both about post-show blues. And I was like listening to it, and Sanaya, Guy and Nick, that one. And Sanaya like jumped in and was like, "Oh yeah, like she experienced it."
Shut up! I'm listening to the podcast.
Yeah, and I was like, "I'm trying to listen to Guy and Nick." And I kind of was like thinking to myself, I was like, I was so happy and motivated after my shows. Like I was like really not like content in the sense of like, I'm so happy with the show season. I was like, right, cool, that phase ticked off, and now time to get back.
Mine was weird.
Yeah, like yours was very like muddled. Like it wasn't like
annoying.
Yeah,
because it was like, right, cool, the UKDFBA show's done. I know what I want to improve. I remember the night, I don't know, I posted it on my Instagram. So as soon as I got in from the show, I watched the live stream and I threw up because I looked awful. No, I watched the live stream and I made notes.
Yeah.
Guess what the first note was?
From Relax?
From Relax is all.
Yeah, From Relax was... Mate, for the visual, how were your hands?
No, we don't do that.
You don't need to do... So, From Relax, please, guys.
Basically, the thing is, it wasn't that bad. It's just that everyone else held theirs so much higher.
Yeah.
Like, mine isn't that dissimilar to what it is there.
No.
But it just looks better because I hit it better. But yeah, I made notes. It was like, front relax is awful. This needs to be better, like, in terms of posing. I can't remember what else it was. It was like, need to be leaner through here, here, and here.
Through the quads, through the hamstrings, through the glutes, through the midsection, oblique, chest, biceps.
Like can be fuller. Of course, it's all the things that you generally would expect, like when you assess a show. But it was like, I did that as soon as I got back.
Could not come up against a freak.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Probably should have got second if I didn't get robbed.
But that's what I did, and I was like, right, cool. So this is what I need to improve for the next 4 weeks. It was 4 weeks until the BMBF, and I was like, I can get a bit leaner. Yep. I was like, my food was pretty high at that point. I was like, I can easily pull off probably another 3 to 5 pounds in the next like 3 weeks, and then fill back up from there. And I think I'll be better. I don't know if I would have been much better, but I think I'd have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can do that, and I obviously like sending it all to AJ, and he was like, yeah, cool, I agree. Like, I'm happy to do this. But then 4 weeks later, it was
3.5. It was like the week before. It was like, I remember 2.
What are you saying, that when they cancelled it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was saying 4 weeks later. It didn't end up being 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
So it was like 3 and a bit weeks, and they were like, oh no, actually it was the day before. It was the day before.
No, they moved it earlier. Do you not remember? It was on the weekend, and then it was into peak week, and then they locked us down for Friday or Saturday, and the show was on the Sunday, and they moved it to Wednesday, but then they banned all public stuff from like the Tuesday night. And
I can't remember.
Yeah, no, something like that. I remember, or they tried to move it a couple of days earlier.
I feel like it was,
and it was like, oh no, we're going to.
I feel like it was the Sunday, but they maybe tried to move it to the Saturday.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but basically, it didn't end up happening. So it was like, it was weird. But then they were saying, oh, it'll happen again in 4 weeks, and it was like, well, will it? Like, we don't know. Is it worth dieting for 4 more weeks? When
it didn't happen, did it?
It did.
Did it really?
Yeah, it happened 4 weeks later.
Oh, okay.
And Keefe competed on his own.
Right, okay.
I wouldn't have been in the juniors though. I'd have been in the office. But Keefe competed on his own in the juniors.
Yeah.
Obviously it wasn't the busiest of shows. It was a shame, like just how it ended up all being. But I never really experienced that post show. I'm done now, because it was like, even when I went out for food with Shannon, it was very like
cloudy.
It was anticlimactic. It was like, oh, I'm done now, but it's a shame that I'm done. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, I'm done and I've had a good time in my mess. And it was like, yeah, so.
I woke up for the finals and I was like really happy and positive, because I was like, right, this is the last day. I've had 2 like shots on stage. Let's just enjoy the day.
I get to binge.
Yeah, and I get to just binge on loads of food.
All those Oreos, all of those Oreos.
Stop, my mum pre-bought me. I'll read them, and I've got like, no, get them away from me. I can't eat them. No, I remember like just waking up and I was like, right, cool. Today's the last day. Let's enjoy it. Like, and I was really present in that day. The shows before I didn't really enjoy because I was like there like, well, I better win. I better do this. This is how it's going to go. Okay, cool. I need this to be perfect. And like the finals, I remember because the two previous shows, we got a hotel, and like that was a stress on its own. Like going to a hotel, I literally woke up Sunday morning. I was in my own bed. I'd already had my base tan. I went to Nicola's at like 6 a.m. I came back, had a meal, took some photos. I think I FaceTimed you, and I was like, look pretty fucking good. Like I look really good.
Thing that I would say, just sort of touching on that, like I think people think you have to go and stay over.
Like I've had it way more stressful.
Clients have said to me, like, for example, if they're like, maybe they live 40 minutes away or half an hour away, like, oh, I'm thinking of getting a hotel. I literally say, don't save yourself the money. Like, as long as you get up early enough, like you've really got, like, you're not gonna have an issue. Like,
no.
Even if your tan is early on the day, the second day, like let's say you're one of the first categories on stage, if your tan's at even like 8 a.m, 9 a.m, as long as you get up, and the thing is as well, throughout prep, you're going to be waking up early anyway. If you get up at, let's say 6 and you've already sorted everything the day before, you get up, you get ready, you get gone, you're there. Like, you're there for 7:30, 8. Like, it saves you all the hassle of buying bed sheets so you don't stay in the ones at the hotel, staying in the toilet seat at the hotel that you've then got to clean, like, just stay at home.
Checking in, checking out, carrying your bag.
I would literally say if it's under 2 hours away, maybe 90 minutes away, I would
for the Maidenhead, for my like first official show, that'll be Maidenhead's like an hour and a half, and I don't think I'm gonna get a hotel. I've just said I was I'm gonna get Nicola to do my tan the day before. I'll get her to do the tan in the morning. I'll find out what time. So I'll say just get me in like 6 a.m. I'll wake up at 5, get to hers, get my tan, and then I'll just get, like, let's say either I'll go down with you or I'll go down with my mum, and like I'll just get a lift or I'll drive myself. It's not like you can't drive, can't drive, too much fatigue, too much mental time, too many. I'll be lying back, feet up, even though men's physique. But no, literally, like, and I remember, like, for the finals, it was just such a chilled day. Like, I just went to it, enjoyed the day. I enjoyed the actual process of it, and then when I was done, it was similar. It was like a bittersweet. It was like, oh well, I'm done now. But it was like I was really eager and excited for what's to come, And I think that's how it is. Where with you is like very much like I couldn't imagine being called up and saying like, "Yeah, bro, prep's over," like from the coach or whatever. I find that
it wasn't like that. It was Vicky from BMBF. She was like, "Oh, like it is going to happen in 4 weeks. Like, hopefully you carry on. Please do carry on. We'd love it if you would." Obviously, she wants people to compete, and I was like, "Yeah, thank you. Like, I'll have a think about it."
And you're like, straight to 5 guys.
No, I didn't go to 5 guys. But I do think like AJ was basically like it won't happen, and then it did. So AJ ruined my prep. No, to be fair to me, it was like it made sense. It was like, look, do you really want to push on for another 4 weeks?
Yeah.
It might not happen. Is it worth it? And it was like, yeah, probably not. And like looking back now, I'd probably, if it was a client of mine, I'd probably say the same thing. I'd probably say, especially like
first time prep, you've stepped on stage once, you need to be better. It wasn't like you were a guaranteed win.
No.
And it was like you just get your feet wet.
Get some more muscle, go and grow. Like,
yeah. And like a month of that is like, especially considering you're already in a very long prep, like in the sense of it got pushed back multiple weeks. I think if you were like feeling really, really, really fresh and you were like, no, I want to do it, you would have carried on. It wouldn't have mattered if it was 4 weeks or 8 weeks, Keefe, for example, he was probably seasoned at that point in the sense of probably third prep, maybe fourth prep. So it's different for some. And again, it really depends on the situation. For me, first show, I didn't even talk to you about finals. I was doing the first timers and the Arnolds. I didn't even know there was a finals qualification until Sanaa was like, oh, if you like finish top 3, you get you do finals. And then obviously I won the overall, and you were like, oh, well, it makes sense to do the finals. But I remember going in thinking, this weekend and next weekend I'm done.
Like, it was only the weekend after.
Yeah, I was like, I literally was thinking like, no, it was 2 weeks after.
Oh.
So it was like, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks from the first show.
Is that when you binged in between?
Yeah, no, I found this again, it depends on the situation. Like, again, Sanaa mentioned her a lot. She struggled in between the shows. I found the show period in between like really, really easy because the work was done. It was basically maintenance. Cardio was at a lesser point. My look was getting better. I was eating more. And like from a psychological standpoint, I was like, okay, cool. Like,
this sort is the same for everyone though.
No, that floating period, I think a lot of people benefit from like, I'm digging or I'm done now. And I quite like just right, cool. I get a bit more food, so I get to train well, I get to train hard, and I feel pretty good as a result of that. So yeah, I feel like we could probably wrap that up. Prep. What we're going to call this part? Like prep chat?
God knows, we'll have a think.
Prep chat. I think that's quite a good.
Prep chat. If you call it that, prep chat. We're not going to call it that, are we?
Sorry.
Just call it prep chat once.
Yeah, prep chat.